With this, the conversion rate goes up over 70%, and you make over 3.5 times more money on all these calls, and 89% of the people will upgrade to this way of doing it. Let's put it this way. People around the world, not just in America, we value freedom. So the freedom to choose the most premium thing down to the most economy thing, this is one thing that appeals to people because in a way you're giving them financial freedom to choose the one that's right for them.
Please welcome America's service sales coach, Joe Crisara.
Welcome to the Service MVP Podcast, the show that helps home service professionals master high-value sales, build stronger client relationships, and grow their business like never before. Join industry experts as they share real strategies that drive results. If you're ready to level up your service game, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
It's the Service MVP Podcast.
Hey everyone. Today's episode of the podcast is actually a condensed version of a much longer presentation that Joe gives, and he's actually giving a live one on the 25th, on Friday, April 25th. So if you want to come here in person to Culver City, amazing. We would love to have you. We are selling in-person tickets to that live event for recession-proofing your business, but we also have live stream tickets as well. So depending on your location, depending on your goals for your team, please check out the link in the description to either get a live in-person ticket or a live stream ticket for you and your team to watch remotely. Thank you and enjoy the episode. Hey everyone, I'm Ethan Ralphs here today with Joe Crisara, America's service sales coach, and today we're talking about recession-proof pricing strategies for home service pros. So Joe, first off, right off the bat, welcome, and if you want to take us through the agenda for today.
Oh, I'd be happy to, Ethan. Thanks for that, saying that long but impactful title. I appreciate
You get it out, you get it out.
Well, the agenda today we're going to do is talk about how profit takes courage, Ethan, because the fact is that everybody who is going to be successful needs to be able to charge a higher rate for their pricing, but be able to make customers happy. So that takes courage. We're going to talk about the 4 pillars of profit. Pillar 1 is going to be a profitable hourly rate. Pillar 2 is going to be the science of pricing strategy. Pillar 3 is the service and warranty profit center. And pillar 4 is going to be the consumable profit center. So with all that said, I can't wait to get into it. Ethan, it's going to be a great moment where we can kind of dive into this to make sure contractors have everything they need to be successful.
Awesome. So one of the things that I know I've heard you say before is that profit takes courage. And so I want to hear from you. What do you mean by that? If you could break that down a little bit and where that takes home service pros.
Well, I think a lot of people don't know, Ethan, exactly how much profit they need to make. So we have discovered through the years, I've got 48 years in the service industry, but really knowing the financials for about maybe 40 of those years. And I'm still learning as we go. But what I found is that there's different things that steal profit from a company. And so what we found is 25% net profit is essential to sustainably grow a service business. And when I say that 25% net profit, that's the thing that takes courage. There's things that get in the way of making that kind of a profit. But let's talk about the reasons why that 25% is so important. Number one, there is service business chaos. Every company has to figure about 5% of the revenue they make, and just things that happen. The truck breaks down, or things that maybe the guy crashes into another car, or maybe your rotting machine or your refrigerant recovery machine blows up. The next thing you know, you got to buy stuff you weren't expecting. There's always service business chaos. Everybody who's in the business knows exactly what I'm talking about. Number 2, there is planned obsolescence. This is when you're planning for things to break down and things that go wrong. So in this case, you have to figure 5% for things like a copy machine that gets old, or maybe computers that get to be 5 years old and they're obsolete now, or maybe you got to get a new phone system because there's a new technology that doesn't work with the old phone system. That would be that. The third thing is emerging technology, which is another 5%. This is things like Chirp, like joining Service MVP and getting education for your team, or getting a new software like Service Titan or House Call Pro or something like that. It has the illusion of profit, but there is a transitional period that takes people time to get it up and running. And I got to figure you got 5% per year on training, getting it implemented, and trying new things, which I think every service contractor today is very aware of the new technologies with AI and everything that's going on out there. Finally, the fourth thing is capital improvement. Like, let's say you were able to make a profit, Ethan, and have the courage to get the right employee and do the training and plan on what's going to wear out and try to buy new solutions to help you become profitable. Let's say it all works. Well, then you got to get a bigger facility with more trucks and you have to hire more people. And that takes money. It takes about 5% again to grow a company to add a new person. Because let's face it, when we add a new person, even if they were trained, it would take them 90 days to get them up to speed. If you have a new employee you're building on your own, it could take you a whole year to invest in that person. So there's another 5% in capital improvement in both people and real estate and trucks as we get bigger. The fifth category is investor retained earnings. This is money that the owner can make for all the headaches he has to go through the first four categories. They deserve 5% as well, too. This is why 25% net profit is required to grow. Now, there's two kinds of companies, Ethan. There are companies that either need outside financial help to provide capital to make all these things happen as an investment. But when you do that and bring out outside private equity or other investors, they're going to expect a piece of the business or expect a return on their investment too. So now you're having another problem, which you can add that to the category, interest rate or something on the money you're taking from other people, right? Or you could just make profit so you don't have to pay a third party like a bank or an investor to have any interest rate or other equity or things like that. You could just make the money on your own. And this is why 25% net profit is important. If you're going to bootstrap your business and you're going to grow by yourself without any outside help, this is why that is so important to be able to have that. I think everybody who looks at this will realize that, yes, every one of these are true and it's what's needed out there. Make sense?
Now, Joe, if you could give us a quick breakdown of how someone would achieve and get to that place where they're making a 25% net profit.
Not a problem, Ethan. Well, number one, 100% of the money we have comes from revenue. So if you're not going to get it from investors or from a bank, we're going to get the money from our customers. So the customer pays for everything. Number two, you look at what are the costs now? This is what we have available. So right at the bat, we have to deduct, if you have equipment like hot water systems or you got bigger jobs that have bigger equipment, it could be as much as 25 to 30% of that revenue on bigger jobs. On smaller jobs like repairs, it's probably 10 to 12%. So overall, the cross section for materials and equipment is about 20% of the expense. That is the red line for all companies. If you go more than this, we'll tell you what you need to do. If your materials and equipment is higher than 20%, we'll go over that in a second. Next, we got labor and sales in the field to get the job done. Not talking about office labor or people who do management, only people who are in the field directly affecting the cost of a job. Salespeople who sell the job, labor that installs the job or does the job. If you have a service tech who sells and does the job, there's roughly 20% available for that sales and field labor as needed to get the job done. So now we have lost 40%. Now we're down to 60%. After that, we do now have the internal staff, the overhead, all the people inside, the insurance guy, the trucks, the repair guy who does the truck repairs, the person who washes your trucks, the uniform company. It's countless amount of stuff that's needed to run a service business. There's 35%. So there are some businesses that have a lot of overhead, maybe 40%, and other ones that don't have very much overhead. Now, the more overhead you have is an indication of the kind of internal service you're giving your team. So if you do have 40% overhead, you're probably trying to make it easy on your field and office employees so they have other services given to them, better technology and stuff like that, which raises the overhead. Then you have things like construction companies who don't have very much overhead, maybe just one person with a phone. They don't buy new technology because they're doing things old school. So really the spot in the middle, which is 35%, is the realistic goal we're looking for. So if you took, 100% minus the 20% for materials and equipment, minus the sales and field labor, and minus the 35% overhead, then you would have a net profit of 25%. Now, here's the key. If you look at your profit and loss statement and you see that any one of these things are way over, and they're over by 1 month, well, that just could be that 1 month. Maybe you had a bad month and maybe had an accident. It doesn't happen every month. But if you do notice that every single month we're at 25 or 30% for materials and equipment, and we're at 22% for field labor, and the overhead's 38%, and it's all melting away that 25% net profit to be like 15% net profit or 10% net profit. Then what's happening there is that you need to do only one thing, and there's only one answer to bringing all those costs back into the margin to give us 25%. And that is where the courage to make a profit starts. The courage to raise your prices. And so you just need to find how much money would I need to charge? How much more would I need to increase my sales to bring all those things back into those categories, which we just said before. And then you got your net profit percentage. So that gives you the percentage that you need to raise your hourly rate, which is our next subject right now, going over that.
Now, Joe, if we're talking about hourly rate, that seems like something where a lot of contractors would probably assume that they should already know what their hourly rate is.
You would think so, wouldn't you? I tell you right now, Ethan, it's such an inexact science for most contractors and service people in the blue collar industry. Most of them just make phone calls to their competitors, try and figure out what they're charging, or maybe the last guy they worked for before they went into business
Yeah.
and found out what they work for. And then they just try to charge the same amount, maybe a little bit more, or maybe a little bit less, depending on the self esteem of that contractor. If they feel good about themselves, they may raise it just a little bit more than their competition. The truth is, uh, nobody should look at the competition when you're figuring out the cost that is to do business. You need to look internally at all the things we just mentioned. What is the overhead, the labor, the materials? That's how you come up with it. So there's two groups of contractors in this world, Ethan. There's informed contractors and uninformed contractors. So the uninformed contractor only considers the time on the job, and typically they're going to calculate the hourly rate to figure out prices at somewhere about $150, $125 an hour. Now, there's those of you out there who say, Joe, we don't even worry about how much a billable hour would cost. But it always comes down to this no matter what, Ethan. People go in the field, they spend time, and time is money. And we need to figure out what is the value of the time we have. So no matter what system you use, you are figuring out a billable amount. Customers should be paying us for the time we do. And so uninformed contractors only consider the time on the job. They don't consider all the other time that they're not working. The informed contractor considers the applied and the unapplied time. Ethan, how much time do you think a contractor spends in the field that's not actually on the customer's job, would you say, percentage wise? Can you take a guess at that?
Percentage wise, 50%?
We'd be lucky if it was 50%, honestly. I mean, most of the time it's probably something like 35 to 40%. So you need to add an additional 60% to 50% more to the time on the job pricing to make the whole thing make sense. You're paying employees an hourly rate from the time they start work to the time they finish, or you're giving them a performance-based pay that's based on the amount of time that they're going to be happy working. If it's performance-based pay, it'll be actually higher than the hourly rate would be because you want to make people happy when they do sell a job, right? So here's the key thing. You're going to have to pay people, and those people are going to consider how much they make versus how much time they are working. And so you have to take all of the time they're working and all of the time they're charging you for. If it's 7 a.m. till 5 o'clock with a couple hours of time and a half overtime, that's all got to be figured into the hourly rate when you charge a customer. So even though the customer, we may only be spending 3 to 4 hours a day in their home, they have to pay for all 8 hours that the service provider is working. So we have to account for the time there and the time we're not there. Does that make sense? So both must be calculated into the hourly rate when we calculate a price. So I can just tell you right now, there are people out there right now charging, say, 125, 150 an hour, even some people charging $100 an hour. Those people are completely uninformed. At minimum, there's 0 places in the country where it would be less than $400. And I would say by the time you watch this a couple of years from now, it'll probably be $600 or $700 per hour that people would be needed to be able to charge per hour to consider the billable time and the unbillable time on the job. The uninformed contractors are under the $400 an hour. The informed contractors are over $400 an hour. The price gap is there present now. We have a price gap, and the costs are rapidly increasing. So how are we going to be able to bridge the value gap?
Now, Joe, I think that's an interesting topic that you're bringing up with the value gap. Can you break that down a little bit more and explain to us what a value gap would be?
The value gap is the difference between the price you need to charge to be profitable. If you go into work in an urban environment in Los Angeles or Boston or New York City or Chicago, you're working downtown, you got to be charged like close to 1,000 an hour, 900 to 1,000 an hour to be profitable. Because think about the parking, where you're going to put the truck,
Yeah.
the tickets you're going to get, and things like that for parking in the wrong place. That's the price you need to charge to be profitable versus your team's ability to communicate higher value than that price. So the prices increase constantly, but the gap is that people still stay the same and they're not improving their ability to communicate beyond the price. So we're going to talk about some of those factors that are going to help us bridge that value gap.
So, would you be able to break down a couple of those factors for us that actually help with that value gap?
Yeah, absolutely. The first one is our second pillar. Beyond knowing the hourly rate you need to charge is the science of pricing. Not you know the hourly rate you're going to charge. Now you're going to ask yourself a simple question. How do I get my pricing right? What kind of strategy should I use for the pricing? Flat rate pricing came out in the 1970s and early 1980s. Based on what they used to do is just time and material, meaning that we would do the work and then we would settle up at the end of the call and then people would be upset with the price. Now we give people a projected estimate of the price and time it will take to do a job, and the client is happier, but you wind up estimating it. And now instead of waiting till after you do the work to show the price, you now show the price before you do the work. So that's the idea. Agree to a price. And now in the state of California, for instance, this is now a law. The law is that you can't just charge people money and expect them to pay the bill. You have to agree to a price first, and then people can then pay the bill based on what they agreed to. The problem is when you give one price, you're kind of forcing yourself to be competitive. So you're always going to use the lower price. And the conversion rate will be the lowest because people see that you're doing substandard work for the lowest price. There was another strategy called good, better, best, which was developed in the 1970s and late 60s by Sears Roebuck. They had it in the Sears catalog. You could buy good, better, best for all the tools, for all the clothes, for everything like that. They had different ones that were good, better, and best. Good, better, and best starts with the cheapest option first, going to a better option, and then the best one at the bottom. So you always begin with the most economy option first and increase the price. With this way of doing it, the amount of conversion goes up to over 30%, and you make more money on these calls than you did if you did not do that good, better, best. Obviously, nobody upgraded with the single price because it wasn't available. Now that you offer something better and best, 40% of the people upgrade to this. But there was another study that was done in the late 80s, early 90s that went over three options doing premium mid-range economy, which is essentially the same prices, but you start with the premium price first, then the mid-range, and then the economy. With this model, the conversion rate goes up over 60%, and you wind up with an 80% conversion rate to get people to buy a more premium or mid-range option, which definitely makes it more profitable than if they only bought the cheapest thing. So the stuff that's happening between the calls isn't any less money than if we sold a better option or a cheaper option. So the bottom line is the cost of overhead stays the same, but the cost we're making on the job increases to kind of cover more of that overhead. In the mid 90s, the University of Notre Dame did a study where they got two premium, two mid-range, and two economy options. Still the premium mid-range economy thing where the premium price goes first, and that's called the anchor effect. So whichever price goes first, that's the price that people see or perceive as the recommended solution we do. With this, the conversion rate goes up over 70%, and you make over 3.5 times more money on all these calls, and 89% of the people will upgrade to this way of doing it. Let's put it this way. People around the world, not just in America, we value freedom. So the freedom to choose the most premium thing down to the most economy thing, this is one thing that appeals to people because in a way you're giving them financial freedom to choose the one that's right for them.
Hey everyone, hope you're enjoying the episode. So once again, if you guys are enjoying this content, we do have a live version of it that is going to be a much longer, much more in-depth version coming up on April 25th. So if you want to be here, if you want to be interacting in person, if you want to be able to ask those questions that you have to Joe live, please come buy your tickets for the live event on April 25th. You're able to get those tickets down in the description, or if that's just not feasible for your team right now, if you're just not able to make it out here to Culver City, just outside of Los Angeles, then we also have virtual tickets available for you as well.
So, the key thing though is how do we do this by charging these higher prices so the consumer is still happy? That's the key thing there. Have you ever seen people buy more stuff, but they are happier? Like you take your mom to a buffet or something like that, everybody's happy, even though
Yeah,
the
of course.
buffet might cost $150 or whatever. Under what conditions do you think we are happier to spend more money? What do you think of that, Ethan?
There's got to be more value in there. There's got to be more of whatever you're offering. Well,
Yeah.
the value has got to be higher.
Here's the thing about the value. The value surrounds people. And so we created a thing called pure motive values. So what are pure motive values? Well, when you're showing the premium option, you can't just charge more money for something that's the same. Number one, to be a window to show people the possibilities and not a door that stands in the way of those solutions. So you have to be dedicated that every time I give prices, I'm going to give a premium, mid-range economy choice or two premium, two mid-range and two economy choices. And that's what you got to be committed to. So what's in the premium choice? Number one, the quality and reliability has to be upgraded or enhanced. You could do that by either doing something more heavy duty, or you could do something where you are adding more to the solution that's in the same location. If you do one drain, we can clean more drains. If you have a clean out, there's no clean out, you could add a clean out. It would be a higher quality and reliability to get to a drain system or something like that. Number two, increase the safety and health choices for our clients, better air quality, water quality, surge protection, electrocution protection in a home if you're doing something for different trades like that, door protection so people are safe and healthy with a garage door. You can do customer service choices, a 12-year warranty with the premium option for equipment, maybe a 5-year warranty on a repair. The warranties should have a gradient. The premium option on equipment or renovation should be 12 years, 10, 7, 5, 3, and 1. And on repairs, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The fourth one is really important, Ethan, which is customized relevant solutions.
Hmm.
I mean, if we just went to a buffet and spent $150 on ourselves, we'd just be sitting there and we'd be kind of bored just sitting at a table, maybe surfing our cell phone, just drop $150 for something we can't even eat all this food. But if we have our family with us, buffet represents time that we all first go to the salad bar, and then we have the main course, and then maybe we have an omelet, and then maybe we have a dessert. Meanwhile, we're spending time with our family,
Yeah.
and that's what makes the big expense to take your family to a big outing or to a restaurant. It makes it worth it because we're spending time with people. So the people make the solution better. So if you're going to present a premium option, you'd be smart to use the customer's name when you're presenting the both the problems and the solutions so people can see that it's relevant to them and not just something you're trying to sell them. And finally, number five is honesty, even when it's not popular, which brings us full circle. To be a window, not a door, you have to say, I don't care what people think. I'm going to show them the premium option, even if they get mad. I'm going to show them the economy option, even if that gets them mad. I'm going to show them all the options and they can just choose the one they want. I can't control their emotions, but I can control the solutions I provide. And that's how pure motive values are the inoculation of how that works for people there. And I guess that brings us on to pillar number three, Ethan.
All right, pillar number three. Let's break it down. What is pillar number three?
Well, that's the service and warranty profits. Service means that we're thinking of things in the future. Now, there was a time when I was quite a bit in debt. In 1991, I ran myself about $471,000 into debt. By learning how to do the premium mid-range economy options, by December of 1994, I was debt-free within 3 years. This element of it, these next two profit centers, the warranty and service and the consumables, are the thing that got me out of debt. So let's go over a service plan. You have to have a service plan for your business, service membership. Now, the membership isn't what you think it should be. It's not just a way to get back out there and do maintenance. I wouldn't call it a maintenance plan. I would just call it a service membership that gets people a couple different benefits. It gets them the front of the line pass, better access to the schedule, free diagnostic and travel fees. So I wouldn't discount anything. I would just be offering them free diagnostic and travel. And then any kind of scheduled or on-demand upkeep or maintenance or small problems that happen, like, batteries on a smoke detector or light bulb that burns out, you'll replace it if the client provides it for you. You could also do maintenance on an air conditioning system or flush a water heater, things that are just small maintenance items that are needed in different trades that you could do. So you could reprogram a control for a garage door for the car. If somebody buys a new car, you could reprogram a heating and air conditioning control on the cell phone, or a lighting control for Wi-Fi connected control systems and things like that. These are all part of what a service membership would entail. Now, here's the key thing. Profit part of it is on a multiple year basis. So the mistake that people made for years is, how can I get the service membership to people so I can get a loyalty program, but how can I do it as cheap as possible? The problem with that is that you're sending people on these maintenance calls and these nuisance calls, going to the front of the line, and these calls become unprofitable. So now you're losing that profit again, even though these are tended to make profit. So only selling 1 year at a time or doing it on a monthly basis, you're basically financing this program. The problem is credit cards stop going through. We need a whole nother department to chase down credit cards, or we got to put the burden on our team to constantly renew memberships every year. So what we found the most successful companies do is sell the warranty and service memberships on a multiple year basis to give people a chance to extend their warranty with the service membership, which we're going to show you that right now. So let's go over some different rules when it comes to pillar number 3, service and warranty profits. There's 2 different kinds of warranty and service memberships we need. One is going to be on repairs, and that's got to be a minimum of $250 a year. Now, repair is considered something in a current system that I'm not replacing the system. I'm just fixing the system with some component that broke down, wore out, got obsolete, and I'm just going to bring it back up to par. And that would be $250 per year to extend the warranty and provide a service plan. Now, that's a key component. The service plan has to be there with the warranty. People might say, isn't it illegal, Joe, to sell people a 5-year warranty? I say, no, it's not illegal. Nobody can tell a person how long they're going to stand behind the work they do. There's no government interference here that would cause this problem. The problem becomes when you sell a warranty to somebody, but you don't give them a service plan or a way to get back out to the house for free. So if I gave you a 5-year warranty on something and said, oh, you got a warranty call for like 4 years later, I'm going to charge you $150 to come out there now to look at it. See, that's not legal. I'm leveraging this $150 call. The less quality I put into the premium option, the more money I would make on these fees I would keep charging you.
Yeah.
Make sense? So the bottom line is that warranties are legal, but you have to make sure that you are covering the warranty. Number one, you can't argue with people about it. It means you're going to need money to cover the warranty. We're going to show you how much money that's going to be. Number two, you got to make sure people have access to the home. So your company has access to the home. So this way you're not selling a warranty and then trying to charge people to cover it later on. Does that make sense, sir?
Yeah.
So the renovation warranty is the second warranty you need to have in service membership. You need to have that one at a minimum of $500 a year. Now, how do you know it's enough money? Well, you'll see as you start to sell these things, you'll start to see that, you know what, we do need to make more money on the warranty. We're going to offer that kind of warranty. We're using too much money. Or you can see that we're actually making excessive amount of money. We could probably lower it a little bit. Make sense? What we found, though, is that right now at this point in 2025, these are the starting points to begin a program like this. Obviously, if you're really busy and you're the kind of company that's a high-priced company, you could charge $1,000 a year for the warranty on renovations and maybe $400 or $500 for the repair warranty per year is what you're looking at there. So let's go over some of the rules when it comes to repair warranties. Number one, there's a 5-year hard cap on repair warranty and services. The top option starts at 5 and declines each year by 1 year for each of the lower options. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 60 days. How do we pay for that? Well, the years of warranty are funded by the years of tasks and service plans together. So the years of warranty must match the amount of tasks and the years of service memberships. So what we're doing is we're using the additional unapplied time for each task to fund the warranty. So here's what it looks like when you do it in real time. The amount of tasks is 5 years on the left. The years of service plans is 5 years, and you can get 5-year warranty. So the warranty is dependent on the amount of tasks and the service plan using the tasks and the service membership to fund the warranties. Here's how much money you would make if you did that. Let's say you had the 3 years of warranty at $250 a year we just mentioned. That'd be each call you did was $750 per call. Now let's say we did 2 calls per day. That means that we got $1,500 per day for each service repair on demand call we would have. If you multiplied that times 200 working days a year, that would be $300,000 per tech per year just in warranty and service memberships. I remember in the old days when I would tell people I have technicians who do $1 million a year, and they couldn't believe it. Like, there's no technician could sell $1 million a year. Well, here we are. They're selling $300,000 in just the warranty and service. Now, you may have many technicians who are doing 350 to 500 on just the tasks. Now you add this to it, and next thing you know, you get 800,000 to $1 million per service tech. If you had 3 technicians in a small company, that would be $900,000 a year, which would be really nice to have at the end of a year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, of course.
Now, this is how you can tell the effectiveness of a service manager, because you're making sure that these warranties and services are being offered all the time. This is where management bonuses come from, actually. If you're going to keep this in place, now you can afford to give the manager a bonus based on what you're doing here. All you small companies out there who have 3 technicians or less, wouldn't it be nice if you had that much money in a bank account? Now, there's no saying you're going to get 2 calls a day, but some days you do 4. Some days you have 2. But overall, you could probably do about 200 calls a year, something like that you'd wind up doing. So this is the number you're looking at. Even if it was half the amount, and with 3 technicians, you only did 450,000 more a year, and you also did about 300,000 each, you'd still be doing pretty profitable
That's still a
service,
pretty nice number.
right? Let's go to the renovation warranty and service membership. This is a 12-year minimum now in equipment, water heaters, water purifiers, new electrical panels, generators, furnaces and air conditioning systems, new duct systems, things that are bigger jobs. We're taking out an entire system and replacing it with a new system, not just a repair. So 12-year minimum on these renovation warranty and services. The top option starts at 12 years and it declines evenly for each of the lower options. Now, it could be more than 12 years, but let's just say we start with 12 years to be conservative. 12, 10, 7, 5, 3, and 1. Here's how we pay for that. Here we take the years of warranty funded by doubling the price of the repair service plan. So example is the service plan yearly price is $250 times 2, $500 a year for the renovation warranty. So if we did have a 10-year warranty and service membership we're going to offer with a furnace, an AC, or a new tankless water heater, that would be $500 times 10 for $5,000 more a year. So this would be great now if you start saying, well, if I'm going to do a tankless for $7,200, I'm going to add on $5,000 for the warranty. That's $12,500. If you did water purification, probably another $5,000. That's $17,500. If I did a Wi-Fi connected shut-off valve, another $3,000. You're at $20,500. So I would recommend that everybody who adopts this on their equipment adopt financing or bridge loans so people can get an affordable rate. And I would recommend you go to 120 months or 150 months on this, because I'm not a math wizard, but if we did have $20,000 and we did pay that off over 120 months or whatever type of thing, it'd be somewhere roughly around $200 a month. So, or less than $200 a month it would be, right? So less than $200 a month for a new furnace and AC is less money than you're paying in utilities, less money you're paying on price increases, less money you're paying on repairs. So literally, when you pay it off over a longer period of time, you are actually able to make this whole cost of the equipment install a zero net sum. The smaller amount of money we pay per month allows us to make a return on the investment because we're covering the utility increases, the repair increases, and the price increases. So it winds up being close to a zero net sum if we do use financing. So again, the years of warranty must match the years of service memberships. So do not use the manufacturer's limited parts warranty because it's a lie. Basically, the manufacturer is saying this is guaranteed for 12 years for the parts. But what the service provider is not telling people is that the labor is not included, and I call that the but warranty, where you could have got the whole warranty, but the service provider forgot to tell the customer conveniently that we are not going to warranty everything, and that's the problem there. So here's what this one looks like. On the equipment, it's 12 years of service memberships on the top option, 12-year warranty. The investment $6,000 for that. So if you sold 5 pieces of equipment per week, you would make about, say, $3,500 times 5 would be $17,500 a week times 50 weeks. I'll even give 2 weeks off for vacation. $875,000 per year. And this would be a very small company that does 1 installation per day. Time that. So that would be making that, no matter, I don't care how many installation crews it is, that's what you'd be doing there. Make sense? So again, you take that repair membership and you take the renovation membership. Now we're close to almost $2 million a year extra for a small company. We're not talking about even how a big company could scale all this stuff. Make sense?
Yeah.
So with that being said, one important factor beyond the financing is that at the end of every week that we operate, you have to take the renovation and the repair memberships and warranties and put them in a separate account so you can responsibly manage these funds so you have the money for warranty and service. Now you might say, Joe, what's going to happen when we sell the company? We have all these warranties. Imagine having a business where you sold the business 5 years from now, and we're saying right now you got $2 million a year in a small company. Let's say you did $2 million a year. That's $10 million in a 5-year period. So if you had $10 million in a 5-year period, number one, you might be tempted to keep the company. But number two, even if you didn't keep the company, you'd be selling your company with a $10 million fund to start with. So if I give somebody $10 million that comes with my business, and by the way, all those years I was making interest on that money as well. I'm not going to give them the interest. But let's say I even gave them $5 million out of the 10 million. I don't got to tell them I have 10 million. I can say, yeah, when you get all these warranties and stuff like that, we're going to give you $5 million with the company. So that company automatically becomes worth over $15 million just because you have $10 million or $5 million you're giving the new company. And then the other assets and things are worth money too. So now you're going to make money on the money you're giving them because money costs money. It's not just going to be giving it to them for free. You can create an interest rate and give it to them for that interest rate for how much time you're going to give it to them. If they say, I don't want the money, then great. Then you can lower the price and just keep the money instead. Make sense?
Yeah.
So
Sure.
the bottom line is that the money itself is a profit center that can come with the business if you wanted to, and you could charge more for it, by the way. And you could tell a new company, if you wanted to take your own chances with the warranty, we could reduce the cost by, let's say, if it was making you're charging 15 million in a $5 million account, lower it by 15 million if you want to. Wow, or you could just take the chances and buy this fund with the company. Even if you sold it at cost, you just gave it $5 million more. You gotta pay me $5 million more than the company's worth because I'm giving you 5 million. I don't see why you would do that, but if you did, that's what you need to get. Make sense?
Yeah.
So this is one of those secret ways that people have of making money beyond the normal way of doing it.
Perfect. Well, after pillar 3, there's got to come the 4th pillar, the last pillar. What is the 4th pillar?
The 4th pillar is consumable profits, filters, pads, bulbs, salt on water softeners, things you could sell on multiple years. So let's say the consumables are $400 a year times 12 years. That's $4,800 for filters, pads, bulbs. You want to do water heater flushing as a consumable, things that are out there that need to be done. You could charge more for those things and include that on top of the warranty and service membership. So if you sold a humidifier, you could sell 12 years of cartridge replacements or pad replacements, 12 years of media filters, and you can ship them on the job so the customer has them. This way you don't have to stock them on your truck or have inventory at your company. So with this being said, here's how much that breaks down to. The average consumer is going to do about 7 years of this stuff. That's 7 times 400 is $2,800 for the 12 years. Not only can they be included with renovations, but the service people can also offer these on service calls. So you wind up with about 7 of these packages a week at about 7 years average. That's $19,600 per week times 50 weeks is again $980,000 per year. So now we're getting into a third million, a portion of really close to $1 million each. So by doing these pricing strategies, then you can see how this could be very profitable. And even if you think this is pie in the sky, let's say you only did 25% of all this or 30% of all of it. Instead of making 3 million, like I'm saying, out of these three different profit centers, you only made 1 million or 500,000. I don't know about anybody here who's watching this webinar, but wouldn't that be nice to have that much more money at the end of each year?
I'm sure that would be a game changer for a lot of people.
So with that being said, Ethan, I do have some offer I want to give to some people here to make sure
Yes.
we're doing that. So right here, we have the action plan to do this. Number one, get the free Service MVP pricing profit strategy meeting with you personally. I will have a meeting with your team to go over what your situation would be and how you can implement this free of charge. Just go ahead and go to Service MVP and contact us using the chat on the lower right-hand corner of the website, and I'll be happy to set that up for you. Number two, you can train your team to implement this using the Service MVP app. We can show you some special offers we have there to even start for free. We'll teach your team how to stay on track and show you how to have accountability to leverage permanent profits if you were to come to us. Ethan, that's all I have to say. Any thoughts you have for this whole webinar we did today?
I mean, you say that's all you have. I feel like that was a ton of information. I feel like that was a ton of great information. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm sure everyone who's watching is also very grateful. So I would say if you're watching this, take action, take that action, do exactly what Joe just said. And I mean, make all of that extra money for your company, implement all of those tools and tactics that we've been talking about. And thank you so much for watching. And thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Ethan.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed that episode. Once again, if you guys really were enjoying that content, but maybe you have questions, maybe you want things expanded on a little bit more, please come and join us April 25th here at our Culver City office, where you'll be able to ask all of those questions, interact with Joe in person, and hear the depth of knowledge that goes just beyond this episode. So either grab those live in-person tickets or the virtual event live stream tickets as well. Thank you so much.